Hey there, paper geeks and glitter nerds, it's Shin, the Crazy Geek Crafter, and welcome to part 4 of this 5-part project for Christmas. If you've with me this long, and if you watched everything, I am so impressed and in a bit of an awe. But to the project, you saw me do a test piece in part 2 with this midnight blue cardstock. Now I'm going to make the others that I need, and I'm going to need a pink one for one of the for the rainbow unicorns, and then I'm going to do a purple one for the purple unicorns. Yeah, what to say about that? I just wanted to do something different, and unfortunately I couldn't find a piece of purple cardstock that I liked that didn't have texture on it, so that's not going to look as nice as I wanted it to, but it's going to be okay. But that's just me. I'm being silly, probably, but I just like a nice blend of colors. So let's get the backgrounds out of the way. I need to do some splattering and stuff, so they need to dry while I do other things. We also need to make the curtains, the curtain rods. Oh, there's so much to do. Let's move on. At this point in the project, I needed a bit of help. I needed some wood grain paper, so I went to Etsy and found these, and I took it into my computer and I squished it flat because I didn't like the wood grain was very wide. I wanted it more flat, so I squished it. You can do that in Word or many other programs if you want to. And then, since the original size was 12 by 12, I just made it smaller so the wood grain would fit better with my critters. Now I didn't at this point had as much brain power as I wanted, so I can only do 2 of these in horizontal, free horizontal, and then the others, which are using the brown version, will be in portrait style. And it doesn't matter, I was just tired when I was making this and didn't really, the logic of it all, it escaped me. I needed a quick solution. That was why I went to Etsy and bought these wood grains. I did contemplate making my own, but I didn't have the time or the energy for it. So now the curtain rods. Now I could have gone with gold or silver, but I just went with matte black because it's very in at the moment and it was very easy. You don't get fingerprints on it, and it doesn't mind going through the die cutting machine more than once, so I didn't have to cut it apart for every pass of the machine. It was very easy. So, but maybe I should have made 2 for each, and I'll explain. It's a bit short for the width of the window. The curtain rod doesn't stick out on the other side of the curtain. Now there are curtains out there that has this style where you don't see the rod at all. But maybe I would have preferred to be able to do that. And for that I would have needed to. But I really didn't feel like making more when I got to that point in the project. So I just skipped it and decided that these were the kind of curtains that hit the end of the curtain rod. We also need some wallpaper, and that's just going to be white. I'm that boring. I didn't want to go through the choosing process again, matching up with the wood grain and the curtains and the couches. So I just figured if I make it white, I can make a few modest changes to each piece if I want to, if I have the time. So I cut that would be 5 pieces because I already have one in gray and I might as well use it. And they don't fit exactly on the card front, but since there's going to be a floor at the bottom, it doesn't matter. It'll work just fine. If you've been with me for a while, you know I like an overview of my project, so that's what I'm doing right here, trying to decide on which floors to which critters and which critters are going to get the gray wall. So I'm just playing around here to try and figure, since I have many characters for the unicorn cards, I picked those to be landscape. I do have a lot of characters for the dog card as well. Maybe it should have been landscape, but actually since the dog lengths are so small, it doesn't matter that I put it on a portrait card. Now I just need to see it with the starry background. I actually think these turned out great. I'm not much for gold normally, and I picked it because I don't have a silver metallic pen at the moment. I only have one in gold. That's actually why I picked gold. Because I'm going to need it later for some ornaments I'm going to put. So I just went ahead and used gold on everything. Now here I am choosing some colors for the curtains, trying to keep track of everything and waste as little as possible. These are all scraps of paper I have in my stash. I've been collecting them for 10-15 years. So except for the purple one here, which is a monochromatic Maya design paper, I don't know what any of it is or was. I picked this very fresh green for the ducks because with the very dark couch I figured it would need something lighter in the background. Then I have some gray curtains because gray goes with everything. I have some cream curtains because yeah, why not? I needed some different colors and I couldn't use white. I could, but it would have looked weird on the white walls. So that's why I went in and tried to find some color, at least some color. I picked a very pale blue for the gray walls because I needed something to lighten the space. The couch in there is very dark, and therefore the light blue curtains will brighten the atmosphere. And I could go on and on. I did do a lot of thinking on this. I just never recorded. A voiceover is always hindsight. I get why some people like to talk while they record, but I just don't like to show people how long things actually take, because everything here is sped up at least 4 times, if not 8. And you can imagine watching, well, that would be 20 videos of me doing this. That would be a lot of time, and I would say also a waste. So I think it's better to try and boil things down and speed things up. To position the sky, I drew a rectangle, just marked the rectangle on the paper and glued it on, and now I just used the wallpaper panel to position the outside scene. I'm going to do this on all the cards, but I cut out that part because that was something I feel like you won't miss as much. Oh, sorry if that made a lot of noise. I'm making wallpaper for the ducks here with a green yellowish marker. After looking at it when everything is assembled, I think maybe I should have doubled up on the stripes. I think that would have looked better maybe, but I'm uncertain. It gives something to the background, and since there's so many other things on the card, it doesn't matter that much. But I do like there to be something in the background. I didn't have time to make shelves and books and things to put everywhere. I really wanted to, but I didn't have the time. That's one of the reasons why I got the Purrfectly Wicket set, because I really wanted the shelf and the books to go on it. I really love making scenes, and I mostly do it when people have birthdays, because then I have time to make one card very special for Christmas. I rarely do something like this because I know it's going to take so long. So now I'm ready. I'm just going to sort out my ducks here and hang the curtains, place the couch, and figure out everything else. I apologize, I'm going to amputate the legs on this duck, even a bit of his lower torso, because it looks more natural for him to be flat at the bottom where he meets the couch. The same for the pillows. For all of them, I'm going to cut off a piece and then use the memento marker to make it look more finished, like it was always supposed to look like that. And then it looks like the pillow is on the couch and the little ducky is on the couch. This one, he's looking out the window. I've decided it's a he. He's looking for Santa and he can't wait, and he's been so very wild in that couch that he even pushed a pillow on the floor. while his brother or sister here is just chilling on the couch. You know that person, right? You have that brother or sister who can't sit still for Christmas, or a niece, nephew, cousin, or maybe it's your mom, I don't know, but there's always someone who can't sit still and is so very anxious for everything to begin. So that's the scene I was trying to build here. I love making little stories for the characters and in the cards I make. It doesn't always translate. I don't think everyone who gets my cards actually understand the story I've been telling. They probably told some other story to themselves about this card. But here's the pillow he pushed out of the off of the couch to get to see more out of the window. Just going to trim the excess of the wallpaper and the floor off. And now for glitter. Of course, it's Christmas, we need glitter, and Stickles crystal is my preferred one. I'm going to use that a lot for these cards. I just really like the shine of this one, and it's easy to work with. So now that's done, and I can move on to the foxes. Now I was a bit tired here. I accidentally grabbed the wrong marker for making shadows on my curtains. This is a WG free and not the 0.5 that I wanted. So I'm going to have to try and save this. I would suggest you use the WG 0.5 instead of the free if you try to do me. If you try to copy this, just do what I say, don't do what I did, because that was foolish. It's going to take quite a bit to rectify the very darkness of the curtains. I also shaded the sides of these wood planks. Since I cut the paper in two anyway, I figured I might as well use it for something. So I darkened the edges so it looks like it's actually a plank floor. Mounting the curtains all the way to the edge like I talked about in one of the previous episodes, so that it looks like the window is very wide. All that jazz. I'm trying to save it here. I am being quite heavy-handed with the WG 0.5 to try and blend out that number 3. I'm going to put bows on my little foxes since they represent 2 little girls. And like the ducky in the other card, they are looking for Santa. I don't have any of the Lawn Fawn stamps which has Santa on his sleigh in the sky, unfortunately, so there isn't a Santa in my scene. You're going to have to imagine him. we are moving on to the Wicket little cats. And for this living room, I'm going to try and do some wallpaper with this stencil, which is actually a stencil. The thing is, I bought 2 of these by accident once upon a time, and they're actually for cakes. So I figured one is for cake, one is for paper crafting. I think, except for my SWOT test I made with everything stencil and emboss and folder related, this is the only time I've actually used it on a card. And it was a bit big in the pattern, but once I put on some more marigold here, dried marigold, to darken the wallpaper, I think it's going to work fine. I put the tape at the bottom where the floor is going to be anyway, so you won't see it, that there's nothing there. But it did tone it down, and I think it's very subtle and nice, maybe a bit old-fashioned, but it is coming back in. Unfortunately, the wallpaper is just too expensive. It's insane. I've seen some very nice prints I really would like to have in my home, but the price is keeping me at bay. For now, at least. And now for the reveal. See? Nice wallpaper. And I'm just going to shade the edge of the paper blanks here, just like I did the other card, and then mount it. For this card, I will be doing some stamping on the card. You may have noticed I didn't put any sentiment on the duck card or the fox card, and that's on purpose. None of these cards are going to get sentiments on the outside. I don't think they need them. They tell a story all on their own, and I'll write a message, personal message inside for the recipient. So I don't think it's needed. They can just enjoy the picture. There's no need for sentiment. I said that already. Sorry. The kitty was bothering me a little bit since you couldn't really see that it was lying on the couch because you could see its paws. This may be just me being silly, but I think cutting off this tiny piece underneath beneath the tail makes it look more like it's laying on the couch, with the front paws and tail sticking out, but the rest of the cat on the couch. Now the other thing with this cat is that it's huge for this couch. It's like a rag doll or something. Or a very tiny couch. But back to the stamping I was talking about before. This black kitty I colored. It looks so mysterious. So I figured I could use these parts from the Furry and Bright set to make this little kitty either naughty or nice. That's depending on the recipient, because it can look like the kitty's trying to decorate while the other one is sleeping, or maybe it's just dragging all of the decorations all over the house. Who knows? But that was my thought about this kitty. I also want some ornaments on the ground. I don't have room for free, unfortunately. I would have preferred free, but 2 is going to have to do. And that's the whole rule of free thing, where uneven numbers apparently pleases the brain. Now you may wonder, now that I stamped it directly on the floor, isn't that going to infect my coloring? But technically, in Denmark at least, you only use white lights on Christmas trees. That means that when they're not on, they would be see-through. So that's perfect. I just need to put some glossy accents on the bulbs and they're finished. The other ones, I need to color in the topper, and I need some filling for the actual bauble. And I'm going to use Nouveau and some metallic pen for those. First, I'm going to get confused. Here's the pen, the metal pen that I was talking about earlier. This is the reason for the gold splatter in the sky. And here's the new rose I'm going to use. This is navy blue, and the other is called autumn red. And they're really nice colors. And they have this metallic shine too, so they look really nice. I have a tiny accident with the red one. That's not... It's going to bother me, but I can't really do anything really to cover it up. It's in an awkward spot, and this is pattern paper, and not even real pattern paper, because this is made with my printer, so it takes color in a whole different way. I hope you're ready for part 5. Let's go over there and finish these cards off.